We're good to go here. Let's just wait for people to trickle in, and then we'll get them to do an audio check for us.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
All right, guys. For those who are on, if you guys can just drop a quick note in the chat, just to make sure that you can hear us okay, you can see us okay, and everything along those lines. All right, Darren, can you hear us, brother?
Good to go?
Yeah, I think so. Yep, we're good to go. All right, guys. Well, welcome back to, I think this is episode 3 of the 1 + 1 = 3 show. Sorry for the past couple weeks. We were doing a bit of traveling, of course, to obviously develop ourselves. And we have a lot of new things to chat about today, of course. And I think that, being in a spot where we are getting constant mentorship, it's only going to create this show to be an even better evolution at the end of the day. So without further ado, something that I wanted to chat about today, and we'll also leave it up to you guys if you have any questions or any specific topics when it comes to mindset that you guys want to chat about, drop it into the chats. But all said and done, something that I think I love to talk about personally, and something that was a huge mindset shift for myself and Eric, and something that really just changed our lives, to be honest, was going from what we call a savings mindset to a investor's mindset. Two different things. A lot of people think that they're very, very similar in nature, and they're not. To be honest with you, they're completely different. And I'll kind of break down, the philosophy and the two differences to start, and then we'll kind of mastermind and chat about the two things, some challenges and some experiences that we've had, some stories that we have had to gone through to evolve into the people that we are today. So, back when we first started, coming out of post-secondary school and going into corporate, we weren't making any money while we were in post-secondary, literally $0. So we had a little bit of a savings so that we can get by, of course. But once we got into corporate, we were save. Make as much money as we can, and we wanted to save. What did that do for us? It gave us a sense of kind of closure in a way. We're like, hey, now we have $50,000 in the bank. We're rich. That's literally what we thought we were. We were rich because, our friends, for example, they were working jobs, they were living for the weekend, whatever that was, they were spending their money and they were living paycheck to paycheck. Where we were a little bit different. We were in a unique position where we were in a sales-based job, and the harder we worked, the more money that we made. The more money that we made, the more that we saved. But we weren't doing anything with that money. What did that do? To be honest with you, we threw it into a high interest savings account, and it got us, I think, 2.3% or 3% or something?
3%, something like that. Which
3%.
At the time was like inflation, essentially. Even now it's higher than that. So.
Exactly. If you have your money sitting in a savings account, the way that the world is growing, take a look at gas prices in BC right now. Gas prices is absolutely insane. Before I left 2 weeks ago, we were at like $1.70 per liter. Right now, yesterday, it's at $2.10. Prices are going up, and it's purely due to inflation. Yes, there's less supply of oil, therefore demand is higher and they can charge more. But the way that the world is going, inflation is higher. So if I'm sitting my money in a high interest savings account and I'm not making any money on that money, what that tells me is that I'm technically losing money. Right? The way that every single year how money is, it's essentially becoming less and less more of a demand. It's constantly getting printed.
Less valuable.
It's becoming less valuable. Cost of goods, everything in the world is going up. My money is doing less. So we needed to quickly change from, what can we do with that money in our savings account so that we can make more money for ourselves. And that's what we call investing, right? So if you're smart with your money, you're not someone that technically saves it. And by all means, it's good to have a buffer of some sort, have some form of savings for a rainy day is what I like to call it, a rainy day savings. But do something with that money so that you can make more money at the end of the day, whether that be investing into Amazon businesses, whether that be in stocks, whether that be working with a financial advisor so that you can make 5-10% annually, whatever that looks like. But when you can make that shift, and when you can take that first step to take a little bit more risk for yourself and invest as opposed to save, you will start to become more wealthy.
Yeah. Listen, guys, for those of you who are of younger age, similar to Brian and I, were 24. When we started corporate, we were we were 18 or 19. Pretty damn young, right? This time before your 20s, in your 20s, is the time to take risks. You don't need a crap ton of money saved up for a rainy day, right? Yes, we have a few months saved up. Should anything happen, we have that covered, of course. But if I'm a business owner, if I'm somebody that wants to make more money, I'd rather park my money into something that's going to get me a 50% return or 100% return, something that I know I'm confident in being able to get a certain amount of return, as opposed to, similar to what Brian was saying, having it in a high interest savings account, because at the end of the day, that's not going to make you any money. You're going to be losing money. So you may as well do something while you are young, because money is money. It comes, it goes, right? If you want to make more money, go and make more money is really what it comes down to. But if you have savings, put it into a vehicle that will make you more money. For us, we wanted to start businesses, and that's what we did. We put all of our money into starting businesses, and at the time as well, we also bought real estate properties, right? We put it into something where we knew we would be able to get more money or get equity or build something that will allow us to grow exponentially, both financially, but on top of that as well, building a business actually grew us mentally, grew us physically, grew us in so many different aspects of our lives that we were able to expedite our success rate, being able to do so much more in such a short period of time because we knew we were able to make that happen. So living in that investor mindset, especially being young, you don't have kids. I mean, I don't know if you do, but if you're young and you don't have kids, if you're the only one, maybe you're living at your parents' still, that is the time to invest. It's the time to try to multiply your money by 2, multiply it by 3, so on and so forth, right? Similar to Brian, well, Brian said it as well. You know, you can build a business and maybe you want to go down the route where you can get, like us, you know, I'm okay with, I know that if I put money into an Amazon business, I can get 100% returns because I'm confident I was full in on building a business, an Amazon business, and we use that as a vehicle to grow our wealth. Now, with that said, if you're somebody that is working, right, if you're working a corporate job or you're working in trades and you have cash sitting and you're more conservative, go put it into something or work with a financial manager of some sort that can get you 10, 15, 20% on your money, even 8% on your money. That's still better than being in an interest account or a high interest savings account, right? Do something that will get you more for your money at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it really depends on where you are at in your life. We took that first initial step. Our first investment was our Amazon business, funny enough.
Yeah.
I think we did maybe, a couple $100 investments prior to that, but our first large investment, we're talking 5 figures plus, was within Amazon, and it worked really good for us, but it may not work really good for every single person. So if you're someone that is yet to make any form of investment, we definitely encourage, working with a financial advisor or, starting to learn something within the market, so to speak, where you're getting more than a high interest savings account, even if it's 5% plus. Start low and build that risk tolerance up so that you can start doing things that are able to get you 50, 100% returns. The most beneficial way to make money, in my opinion, is going to be businesses. And that's, selfishly, that's how we've seen it realistically. And it's getting really good at one thing and capitalizing on that one thing. My friends always ask me, or people always ask me, why aren't you in crypto? Why aren't you in NFTs? All those different things. Yes, you can make a ton of money in that, but at the end of the day, it's a massive learning curve, just like we faced when we started our Amazon business. So it's a new skill that would spread us too thin personally for us to take our time off to something that is already making so much money for us, right? So we've been laser focused on building everything Amazon. And that doesn't necessarily mean building Amazon businesses, so to speak, where we're actually buying physical goods and we're selling it for a profit, but also service-based businesses, because over the past 3 years, we've been able to develop these skill sets where we become really good at coaching, we've become really good at mentoring, we've been really good at advertising, we've been really good at, understanding buyer psychology. All these little things are all different skill sets that you can build businesses around. I was chatting, I filmed a video about this that I'm going to release a little bit later on, but it's kind of like a hamster wheel of entrepreneurship. When you get really good at one thing, but also revolves around multiple skill sets, when you tie all of those things together, you now have kind of like a hierarchy of different businesses that you can build based off of one thing that you've done 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And that one thing for us was building an Amazon business. So what I'd recommend is, start small, develop your risk tolerance. After that, build a business with the skill sets that you've learned. So if you're working in a sales job, for example, and you get really good at communicating, build a business around communicating. because you know that you can charge, let's call it a high ticket price, $5,000 plus, and you know that your margins are going to be much higher with that as opposed to working for someone else and making them extra money.
Yeah, at the end of the day, a skill set is a skill set. And one of the best decisions I think we ever made was understanding sales, because sales is probably one of the most transferable skill sets in life as a whole. It helps with communicating, it helps with public speaking, it helps with women, right? Being confident, speaking to somebody over the phone is a very daunting task at first, but once you crack the code, once you understand people as a whole, you'll understand that what you do in sales actually is so replicable for everything you do in your life. When you build a business, being able to take rejection, being able to take no, being able to get somebody over the hump so that they can say yes to you, right? Those are skill sets that are irreplaceable and you're going to have for a lifetime. So for people who are just starting out, sales is a great option to start entrepreneurship or to build skills that will allow you to do much more, right? We talk about saving and investing mindset. There's also two different things I like to talk about. There's a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. A growth mindset is essentially where you are always growing. A fixed mindset is somebody is like, no, this is my situation. I'm staying in this situation and nothing is going to change. And you're subconsciously putting yourself in a mental constraint that doesn't allow you to do more in your life or achieve more in your life or become better in your life, right? So by being in a growth mindset, you're naturally attracting different things, or when an opportunity comes to you, you look at it and you're open-minded and you're like, oh my God, like what just happened here? Is this something I want to go for, right? You put yourself in an open state of mind that allows you to receive opportunities and it allows you to accelerate your growth as a human being. Being in a growth mindset as a whole just allows you to excel your life at 100% in rate as a whole. So sometimes it's more, but if you put yourself in that fixed mindset, you're coupling yourself into, or crippling yourself, that's a better word, into just being the same person that you're always going to be.
Yeah.
Right? So you always want to be in a growth mindset.
Yeah, I think fixed and growth is exactly like savings and investing.
Yeah.
Savings is, regular people that have a fixed mindset and don't know more. They're complacent and they're okay with a 3% return, but they don't understand that inflation is 5% plus, right? Where investor's mindset, you're growing there, you're getting uncomfortable, you're putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation so that you can grow more, whether that be financially, whether that be personally, whether that be developing skill sets that can abundantly make you more money by investing into ideas, businesses. But I love the fact, one thing that Eric said really well was, consciously being in a growth mindset, you're looking at opportunity and you're actually receiving that opportunity and you're looking at it as if, hey, could this opportunity be something that will actually be beneficial to me in the long run, right? I think that's super important to know, because if you are in a fixed mindset, you will clearly just say no. You will literally be, and by all means, stay on your one path towards whatever you're good at. But if you're not constantly developing things and bringing new things into that one path, you're clearly going to be in that exact same position. If you're making $100,000 every single year and you're not doing anything to get better, you're going to stay at $100,000, right? You need to be able to, at the end of the day, do things that are not the same. When things are not working and things are exactly the same and they're staying complacent, you need to be able to bring new things in, new ideas, new skill sets, new understandings, whatever that looks like, or else you're never going to change. It's as simple as that. So, one thing that we did really well was, reading books and just surrounding ourselves with like-minded individuals that had that hunger for growth at the end of the day. So if you just put yourself in that position, it's a great starting point, and it's realistically your environment, who you're surrounding yourself with. What are you doing and what are you putting into your mind? Because if you can start there, you'll personally start developing, you will start to develop new belief systems, you'll create new horizons for yourself. And what that will allow you to do is consistently push yourself better, more and more, higher and higher, whatever that looks like. You'll start to create new levels in your life. And as simple as it sounds, it really is that simple, to be honest with you.
Michael, that background looks healthy. Yeah, it's real healthy.
But
Brenda,
yeah,
I love that. I teach my kids about growth mindset. Yeah, and I think all kids should learn about that because it's such a simple concept, but depending on how we grow up, we can naturally put into a fixed mindset. So teaching kids that early on is definitely very, 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 very important. So good on you for doing that, Brenda.
Think of fixed and growth mindsets like, a kid playing in a sandbox. I always made circles around myself, right? So think of that circle and yourself in the middle of that circle as a fixed mindset, right? And then as soon as you step outside of it, keep 1 foot in and take 1 foot out, right? That's dabbling into some growth. You're getting uncomfortable. You're not staying in that circle. You're expanding that circle. But take baby steps. I tell my students this all the time in the Amazon world. Get your feet wet. It's going to be a new learning curve for yourself, but surround yourself with people that are doing it so that you know that you have some form of backing, that you have some form of blueprint, whatever that looks like, that can give you a little bit more confidence and closure to move forward in the process. But start dabbling in, start putting your toes out, step out, step back in, get uncomfortable, get comfortable again, whatever that looks like, right? All you need to do is start, is take that first step out of that circle within that sandbox as if you were a kid.
Exactly, comfort zone. That's really what it comes down to. Yeah, no, this has been great. Does anybody have any questions? This is a topic that when we first heard about it, we were always in that particular stage, and we were fortunate to be in it. But it's very easy to identify somebody who's in a fixed mindset because of the things that they say, because of the way that they act. They're not open to new opportunities. They like to be complacent, and that's okay. If you want to be in that scenario, maybe you're not big on taking risks. Maybe you're not big on growing as a person. That is okay, right? But for people who are listening to this, people who are in this group, I'd imagine that you guys probably want to be entrepreneurs. Most of you probably have or will start your Amazon business pretty soon. This is the mindset that you need to succeed, because when things get tough in entrepreneurship and business as a whole, you need to be able to look and be resourceful, anticipating that you have a growth mindset, and be okay with trying to figure out how to solve this issue or this issue or this issue. So you need that flexibility to be able to be, I'm going to say, successful as a whole, because being in business or entrepreneurship, being a CEO is not all fun and rainbows all of the time. It's great to have the freedom, but shit's going to get hard. It really is going to get hard. And when you get knocked down, you have the ability to get back up, but only you have that choice to make. So
yeah, if I was listening to this right now and I didn't start any kind of business or invested into myself, the one thing that I would do right out of the gates is what I like to call building foundation. And we teach this in our program, but it's building the mind first, because in real life, how things evolve, it happens in 2 different areas. 1, in your mind first, and then 2, in reality, in physical life. So what does that tell me? If that's my first step, I need to make sure that my mind is primed. I need to make sure that I've done things to stretch my mind and evolve it in some capacity. I need to be able to put myself in those uncomfortable situations, whether that be, listening to the mindset podcasts, just taking that first step, being around people, chatting with people, whatever that looks like. Develop your mind first, and then start, taking on that risk at the end of the day. So super, super important to understand that it happens in 2 different things. Things don't just come about. They don't just happen in life. They always start in your mind, and then they become reality unconsciously over time. So the more that you can prime, like every single morning, I have this, it's from Think and Grow Rich for whoever are TGR fans, but it's a statement that I tell myself for my end goal for the year. Okay, both personally, financially, emotionally, whatever I want to evolve, I tell myself that every single day, even though it hasn't happened yet. I tell myself that every single morning, and the power of that is me telling subconsciously to the world that this is going to happen eventually. I'm priming my mind to be ready to take on that task, to be able to hit that goal from when that actually becomes real life.
Exactly. You want to be ready. That's the biggest thing. Brian's talking a lot about the subconscious mind. It's putting yourself in a state that you are ready to receive whatever is ready to come, right? That's really what subconscious mind, and that as a whole. Now, the one thing I wanted to talk about was we as human beings are, I'll back up a little bit. Our brain, right, is a muscle. There's a thing called neuroplasticity, I think it's called, which is basically we have the ability to stretch our mind, to grow our mind. For those of you who meditate, for those of you who visualize, right? Or practice visualization as a whole. That is the state of stretching your mental capacity and the neuroplasticity of your brain so that you can envision what you want. This is why every single morning you meditate on the things that you want. For instance, like if I want this car, I visualize myself driving the car. What does it feel like to shift into sixth gear? What does it feel like to haul 200 kilometers an hour with the top down, right? Those different things is what puts you into a different state of mind, right? I don't do this anymore, but what I used to do is I used to drive through very rich neighborhoods just so I could see this is how somebody else lives. This is what houses look like if I were to be this type of person. I used to go to car lots and look at cars, test drive cars, those different things, right? You're practicing and priming your mind so that your body can start feeling what it feels like to have the things that you want in your life.
That goes back to the fixed and growth mindset. At the
It
end of the day.
all pulls back in.
It really does. Even though we're talking about different things, it all talks and revolves around the same thing. Going back to Eric's example that he just said, if I had a fixed mindset, I would go to work and I would come back home, sit in my basement and play video games. I'm literally doing nothing to stretch my mind, right? But instead, if I go to work and I go for a drive on my way home to, visualize these homes, to understand that people are doing things that are above me current state, I'm now stretching my mind to believe that and create this new belief system for myself where I know that it is possible for someone else to do it, then it's possible for myself. And I think that's another very important thing to note is if someone has done it, you can do it as well. And if you don't understand that, and if you don't develop that mind to be able to think that, then you're never going to get that at the end of the day.
There's another concept that pulls right back into growth and fixed mindset. It's a thing called limiting beliefs, right? We as human beings, again, we are creatures, right? Naturally, as we grow up, as we feel adversity, as people in our lives, our parents, our friends, they put us in and throw us into this container, right? And that container could be good or bad, right? Depending on the environment that you're actually in. But we have things called limiting beliefs where we don't exactly know how to approach certain situations or don't think that we can approach this situation because of our past, right? Living in the present and limiting beliefs, right? Living in the present means that you are living in a state of
Now.
Yeah, exactly. State of now. You're only focused on right now, experiencing right now, doing everything you can do right now. You're not thinking about the future. You're not thinking about the past. The past is typically what puts you into a state of being and experiencing a limiting belief, right? You don't think you're capable of doing this because this happened in your life or because this person said this happened to you or this person said you can't do this, right? You mentally put yourself into a situation where you just don't think you can achieve something because you have this limiting belief. But that is all stuff that can be broken. Limiting beliefs are things that can be broken, and it all takes action. That's what the process in overcoming limiting beliefs really is. It's taking action on something.
Yeah. So I would encourage you, what I would encourage you guys all to do is just check your surroundings and improve your environment. I think that's where it really starts. I was working at home, being an online entrepreneur. I worked from home in my den. It was an office that turned into it was a den that I turned into an office. And I wasn't surrounding myself with everyone. So I was always, in my own thoughts. So me and Eric, we took the leap of faith and we incurred a cost to get a warehouse, which is right behind us right now, as well as an office space. And what we did as well is we brought in other high-level entrepreneurs to be able to work with us so that we can do a lot of things, chat about things whenever we're facing challenges, to chat. If we have ideas, to just spark and ignite what that idea could potentially evolve into. Once you start to put yourself in that situation, you become so much more of a high-level entrepreneur, a high-level person. And what it really just takes is surrounding yourself with people and changing your environment. So whenever you're chatting with someone and you're chatting with them about an idea, or if they're being super negative or whatever that looks like, I would encourage you to just tell them to stop and give them a lesson around fixing growth mindset now that you understand that, because they may not be thankful for it now and they may be turned off about it in the moment. But trust me when I say this, we've had that conversation multiple times with our friends, and we've turned friends into more acquaintances because of it. But now they've come back to us to start to get this mentorship because they've seen, by us changing our environment, by us surrounding ourselves with other people that want to achieve the goals that we want to achieve, other successful people, having mentors, being in masterminds, whatever that looks like, they see how much we've grown in the past 3 years, and they've likely stayed very complacent and stayed exactly the same over the past 3 years. So it may not be something that that happens to them right now, but if you just take that first step, going back to Eric's point, take that action to help that person, they will eventually be thankful for you in the future. When they start to see your success, they'll come back to you. And what I can say is take them with open arms and help them out, because what we quickly realized is money is not the answer. It's all about helping people, and money will follow. My mentor, Armin, he always says this: money doesn't lead, it follows.
Yeah.
We lead. We lead by action. We lead by purpose. We lead by value, and things will always follow behind us. It naturally happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Lisa dropped a note here. Bob Proctor has a great short read on this called "Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life, Reprogram Your Subconscious." Absolutely. We were just in a room with the president of Think and Grow Rich, the Think and Grow Rich Institute. So he talked about auto-suggestion. He talked about the subconscious mind, which is all things that we've always practiced. But him saying it as a whole, Lisa, oh my God, like it was just a whole new lesson. Just the way that he was able to present it and talk about it and give examples of it. So yeah, the subconscious mind is so powerful. If you can really tap into that, that's when things can become very different for anybody as a human being.
Yeah. Another thing, like there's this book called the Magic of Thinking Big, or Power of Thinking.
The Magic of Thinking Big.
The Magic of Thinking. It was one of my first personal development books that I read, and it was something that changed my life forever. And in that book, it talks about, actually, I don't know if it was in that book or what was that audio that we listened to from Ledcore. Remember what it was called?
I can't remember exactly.
Regardless or not, there's this topic, and when we're talking about priming the mind, to build, building the foundation in your mind, there's this topic of thinking of your brain like an ATM machine, right? There's two different transactions that come out of an ATM machine, positive and negatives, right? You're debiting money in, you're intaking money into your checking account.
Depositing.
You're depositing money into your checking account, and you're withdrawing, right? So at the end of the day, those withdrawals is negative things, realistically. So whenever a negative thought or a negative person is depositing negative thoughts, it's going to decrease your bank account. But whenever a positive person, or if you're reading a book or you're listening to an audio and you're depositing these positive thoughts in your mind, what is that going to do? It's going to grow your bank account. Your bank account, or your brain, it starts to evolve. It starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And what is that going to do? It's going to allow you to live more abundantly. It's going to allow you to build a wealth of knowledge, wisdom, so that you can start to take more risks, so that you can put yourself in uncomfortable situations and feel confident in coming out of them. It's so powerful if you can just start to think about things in different ways, things that could be, more realistic for yourself. Everyone knows what an ATM is, but a lot of people don't know that, a brain can be developed. A lot of people don't know that it happens in two different scenarios, in your mind and then in your life. Those are things that we've learned over time. But when you start to put things into perspective of, hey, there are other things, similar to a mastermind, for example, our show is called 1 + 1 = 3 because there's one, and then we have a third brain that's going back and forth. A lot of these things that I'm saying are literally just coming into my mind based off of my previous past. They're just sparking and igniting ideas, right? But all said and done, a mastermind has been alive forever. Think of a mother and father relationship. When they have a baby, a third person comes out. Hydrogen or oxygen, water. H2O, 2 hydrogens and an oxygen equals water.
If there's only one hydrogen,
then you wouldn't be able to get water.
Exactly.
Right? So super powerful when you can start to think about things like that, because everything evolves and can be related to something that you likely already know. So try to figure out what that pathway looks like for yourself, and things will start to make a lot more sense for you because it's true.
Yep, exactly. Cool, guys. Well, this is a great topic here. We're coming up to 30 minutes. So, I love doing these. They're always good to just shoot back and forth with Brian and see what comes out, and it's all super natural. So I appreciate you all for coming on. Next week, I don't think we're going to have one. We're actually going to be at an Amazon conference in Las Vegas called Prosper. Going to be learning lots. For those of you who are working with us already, we'll bring lots back to. For those of you who are listening on here and who aren't working with us and want to learn more about Amazon, feel free to message me or Brian on Facebook, and we can give you as much information as you need to see if it could be a fit for you. But yeah, hope you guys have a good Monday and a good rest of your week, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'll mention one more thing. Eric and I ramble a lot. We talk a lot. We're very passionate about these things, but we would love to hear from you guys as well. If there's any specific topics that you're looking to get some development on, we would love to mastermind on that with you. So if there's anything that you wanted to bring up on our show, we have a form that goes out.
We have a form that goes out in the actual events that you can actually submit questions, topics, anything that you want us to mastermind on for you or with you. And yeah, we can bring those up as we go. So feel free to submit stuff.
Or feel free to just message us with a specific topic, whether that be like right before the event, drop them in the comments, whatever that looks like. Our goal is not to come in here prepared. Our goal is to just go with the flow and see what comes out. And typically there's a lot of good information that does. So
cool.
Awesome, guys.
All right, guys, have a good day.